Hi everyone, my name's Lottie. Welcome back to the Alchemy of Film, and this week I'm going to talk to you about the differences between 2D and 3D animation. Okay, so 2D animation is essentially a flat style of graphic. You have things called vector graphics, so that's something that we would create and illustrate. We would create, an object, a person, an environment, some kind of setting, and then that would be brought within a 2D world. So you can use things like camera movements from sort of left to right or zoom in and out, but the actual environment is still a flat look. It's got a flat look to it. It isn't three-dimensional. So 2D is perfect for things like simple overview videos, explainer videos. It helps to simplify generally fairly complex information into bite-sized pieces. 2D is also great if you want to kind of showcase a range of different visuals and then reuse those assets for other things. So when you do a 2D animation, you have to create a lot of graphics and assets, and those could be taken and then reused after the animation for things like, toolbox talks. You could use them in PDF slide decks, you could use them as marketing collateral, as sales collateral. It's got quite a lot of wide reusage. 3D animation is a little bit different. So 3D is working with a three-dimensional world. So this just means from the left to right movements and the zooming in and out, you have actually an extra camera where you can sort of stand back and look at a full 360-degree view of that particular environment. Your objects are 3D, your people are 3D, and the processes and things that are happening within that subject are also in 3D. So the benefit of this is for companies that really want to get into that detail and make something feel much more lifelike and realistic. 3D is a great example for this sort of work. Now, generally for 3D pieces, we would work from a CAD. So this would be a design file, particularly for certain types of products. If you wanted to get in there and get a full 360 rotation around them, or if you wanted an exploding view or a collapsing view of a product, then 3D is great for that sort of stuff. It's also good to showcase environments that are typically hard to access. So the environment might be difficult to obtain because it might be through another client's site, and you might not be able to get access to the site, or that particular site might be dangerous to access or difficult in some way to get in there. Well, you could use 3D and build a replica of that environment, fairly lifelike, and then use that instead as an alternative. The other thing to note between 2D and 3D animation is generally the rendering time. So 2D animated projects are much quicker to render because it just works within a two-dimensional setting, whereas 3D, particularly if you have extra features on there, so if you have elements involved in there, so if you have things like movement of particles, things like fire or water, or some sort of simulation work, those things take a really long time to render. So if you're creating projects for 2D and 3D animation, you just need to be aware that the rendering times vary significantly, and then more of that time needs to be built within the projects. Both 2D and 3D animation have brilliant advantages over live action. Where live action work is limited, or you can't access those sites, or you need something a little bit different, then 2D or 3D, depending on the outcome you want to achieve, can be utilised instead as a good alternative. I hope you found that video useful, but of course, if you've got any questions on 2D animation or 3D animation, then of course, please reach out and get in touch.